when I was young, I was not a smart boy. In fact, I failed so many times that sometimes I think maybe I am the king of failure. I failed my middle school exam. Not once, but 2 times. I failed the college entrance exam 3 times. And when I finally got into university, it was the worst one in my city. I applied for 30 jobs. Not even one accepted me. I tried to work at a hotel, rejected. I tried to be a police officer, rejected. Even KFC came to my city. 24 people applied, 23 got accepted. I was the only one left out. At that time, you feel embarrassed. You feel maybe you are not good enough. People around you, they look at you like, oh, poor guy. But they don't understand is that failure is not the end. It is a teacher. It is the tuition you pay to learn the real lessons in life. Most people, when they face failure, they stop. They think, oh, this is a sign I should give up. But for me, every rejection was like another push to go forward. I said to myself, if people say you are not good, prove to them you can be better. If people say you cannot do it, show them that you can. When you are rejected again and again, you begin to develop something very important, a thick skin. You stop being afraid of what people think. You stop caring about the short-term embarrassment. You begin to understand that failure is just part of the process, like the rain before the harvest. The world likes to celebrate the winners. We see their big houses, their cars, their companies. But we don't see the thousands of times they fell down before they stood up. You look at me today and you think, oh, this man is successful. But I tell you honestly, my success is built on the mountain of my failures. Without the failures, there is no Jack Ma today. When I started my first internet company, people said, internet? In China? That's a joke. Banks didn't want to give us money. Investors didn't believe in us. Friends told me, I'll go back and find a safe job. But the failures I had before taught me one thing. When people laugh at you, it means you are doing something different. And if you're doing something different, you have a chance. I always tell young people, if you want to be successful, you have to get used to failure. You have to enjoy it. Yes, enjoy it. Because every time you fail, you are learning what doesn't work, and that makes you closer to what will work. You see, failure is like training. When you go to the gym, you lift heavy weights. It's painful. Your muscles hurt. But that pain is making you stronger. Life works the same way. Failure is the weight you must lift if you want to be strong enough for success. When I was rejected by Harvard, 10 times, people asked me, why I keep applying? I said, because I am not applying to get accepted. I am applying to train my mind to face rejection. That is the real treasure. Not the acceptance, but the courage you develop in the process. Most people think success is about talent or luck. Success is about how many times you can fail and still stand up the next morning and say, I will try again. It's like water dripping on a rock. Slowly, over time, it shapes the stone. Failure shapes you in the same way. Sometimes failure will make you feel lonely. Your friends may leave you. Your family may not understand you. You will have days when you ask yourself, oh, why am I doing this? But in those moments, you must remember, diamonds are made under pressure. If you quit in the middle, you will never know how close you were to becoming something precious. When we started Alibaba, we faced so many difficulties. We had no money, no technology, no experience. The only thing we had was the willingness to try, fail, and try again. There were days I thought, maybe this is the end. But every failure before had already taught me, the end is not when you lose, the end is when you give up. So I say to you, do not run from failure. Run toward it, collect it. Wear it like a medal. Because each failure is a story. Each story is a lesson, and each lesson is a step toward victory. The paradox is this. If you want to win big, you must fail big. If you want to be remembered for success, you must first be a master of failure. The world will try to tell you that failure is bad, that you should hide it. But I tell you, failure is the best university. It is the place where you pay with your time, your effort, your sweat, and in return, you get wisdom that no book can give you. And the diploma you receive from this university is the ability to keep going when everyone else has stopped. Today, People say to me, "Oh, Jack, you are lucky." I smile because they don't see the truth. Lucky is when you keep trying after you fail 99 times and on the 100th time it works. People see the 100th time, they call it luck. I see the 99 failures. I call it preparation. So, remember this. Failure is not the opposite of victory. Failure is the beginning of it. It is the soil in which victory grows. If you avoid it, you avoid the chance to grow something great. Do not fear being laughed at. Do not fear losing. Fear only one thing, the regret of never trying. Because in the end, you will not remember the times you failed. You will remember the time you refused to give up. And that is why I say, the Jack Ma paradox is simple. Every failure I had was a step toward my victory. Without failure, there is no success. Without defeat, there is no triumph. And without the courage to keep going, there is nothing at all. Failure builds resilience. When I was young, I thought the most important thing in life was talent. I believed that if you were smart, if you had good grades, if you had connections, you could do anything. But life taught me very early that talent is not enough and connections are not enough. Even luck is not enough. What really matters is resilience, the ability to be knocked down by life and to stand up again, not once, not twice, but every single time. And you know what? You don't learn resilience when things are easy. You don't learn resilience when you win. You learn it when you fail. Let me tell you something. The first time I was rejected from a job, I thought maybe it's because I was not good enough. The second time it hurt less. The 10th time I started to think differently. Okay, I am rejected, but so what? I am still alive. I still have my ideas. I still have my dream. Failure is like the cold winter. At first it freezes you. It makes you want to hide. But if you stay outside long enough, your body adjusts. You become used to the cold, and suddenly it doesn't hurt you anymore. That is resilience. The ability to keep moving even when the world is not warm to you. When I failed my middle school exam twice, I was embarrassed. My friends passed, they moved ahead. People laughed at me. People laughed at me. Teachers shook their heads. But I learned to say to myself, okay, this time I failed, but I will try again. The third time, I passed. And the lesson stayed with me forever. It's not about how fast you win, it's about how long you can keep running toward the win. Resilience is built like a muscle. You don't wake up one day and have it. You have to train it. And the training comes through falling, failing, and still trying. Every time you face a setback and decide not to quit, your resilience gets stronger. And when your resilience is strong, there is nothing life can throw at you that you cannot handle. You know, I often think of bamboo. Bamboo spends years growing its roots underground before you ever see it above the surface. In those years, nothing happens, at least on the outside. People may think it's dead or useless, but underground it's building strength, preparing for the moment it will rise. Then one day it shoots up very fast, growing meters and weeks. That's how resilience works. Your failures are those underground years. They don't look like progress, but they are building your strength for the moment when you will rise quickly. When we started Alibaba, there were many winters. We had no money, we had no reputation, we had no resources. Big companies laughed at us. Many people quit. But those of us who stayed, we learned to survive. We learned to work with nothing. We learned to believe when no one else did. That is resilience, the quiet power of continuing when the world says stop. I have met many young entrepreneurs who give up after 1 or 2 failures. They think maybe business is not for them. But the truth is, success is always just one more try away. The problem is, you never know which try will be the winning one. So if you quit too early, you will never find out. Resilience also changes the way you see failure. When you are weak, failure feels like an enemy. It makes you afraid. But when you are resilient, failure becomes a friend. It's still uncomfortable, but you understand it's there to teach you something. You stop running from it and you start learning from it. Let me give you an example. In my early years, every time I failed, I asked myself one question. What can I do better next time? This simple question changed everything. Instead of thinking I am bad, I thought that I can improve. That is the mindset resilience gives you. The belief that the future can be better if you keep working. Resilience also makes you independent. If you rely too much on other people's approval, you will quit when they stop supporting you. But if you are resilient, your motivation comes from inside. It doesn't matter if people laugh or doubt you. It doesn't matter if they say a no. You will keep going because your belief is stronger than their rejection. When I talk to students, I tell them, do not try to avoid failure. Try to collect it. Every failure you collect is like a medal for your resilience. The more medals you have, the more battles you can fight. And in business, in life, there are always battles. I remember one time we had a big opportunity with Alibaba to partner with a major company. We prepared for weeks. We had meeting after meeting. In the end, they chose another company. My team was disappointed. They thought maybe we wasted our time. But I told them, this is training. Today we failed to get the deal, but we learned how to approach big clients, how to prepare our presentations, how to negotiate. Next time we will be ready. And indeed, the next big opportunity we got, we won it. That is resilience in action, turning losses into lessons and lessons into wins. Resilience also makes your success sweeter. If you win without struggle, you don't appreciate it. But if you win after many losses, you value it deeply. You remember the cold nights, the rejections, the doubts, and you realize that those moments made the victory possible. So, how do you build resilience? First, you must stop seeing failure as shame. Failure is not proof that you are not good. Failure is proof that you are trying something difficult. Second, you must stay committed to your vision even when nothing is working. Third, you must learn something from every loss, even the small ones. I will tell you a secret. Resilience is more important than intelligence. The world is full of smart people who never succeed because they quit when things got hard. But the world is also full of average people who became extraordinary simply because they refused to give up. In my life, resilience has been the bridge between my failures and my victories. Every time I fell, resilience carried me over the gap to the next try. Without it, I would have stayed down. With it, I could stand up again and again, until I finally reached the other side. So when people ask me, how do I succeed? I tell them first, learn how to fail well. Fail in a way that makes you stronger, not weaker. Fail in a way that teaches you something, not in a way that breaks you. If you can do that, you are already halfway to success. And remember this, resilience is not built in comfort. It is built in the storms, in the rejections, in the losses. So if you are in a hard time right now, don't be discouraged. This is your training ground. This is where you are becoming stronger than you have ever been. One day, when you succeed, people will call you lucky. They will not see the countless failures that built your resilience. They will not see the nights you wanted to quit but didn't, but you will know. You will know that your victory was born in the heart of your struggles, and that knowledge will make you unstoppable for the rest of your life. That is why I say, failure builds resilience, and resilience builds victory. If you want to win, first learn how to stand up when you lose. Rejection refines vision. When I was younger, every rejection felt like a door closing in my face. At first, I thought rejection meant I was not capable. I thought maybe people were right. Maybe I should just find a safe job, live a normal life, and stop dreaming big. But over time, I began to see rejection differently. I realized that rejection is not a signal to stop. It is a signal to look closer, to look at what you are doing, why you are doing it, and how you can do it better. Rejection is like a mirror. It shows you the truth about yourself, your ideas, and your approach. Sometimes the reflection is not what you want to see, but it is what you need to see. Without rejection, we might keep walking in the wrong direction without even realizing. I remember when I first tried to raise money for Alibaba. I met with 30 venture capitalists. All of them said no. Some of them were polite, some were not. One even told me, Jack, this idea will never work in China. People don't trust buying things online. At first I was angry. I wanted to prove them wrong. But then I thought maybe there is some truth here. Maybe people don't trust buying online. So how can we change that? That rejection forced me to focus not only on building an e-commerce platform, but also on building trust in a market where trust was low. Without that rejection, I might not have seen this clearly. Rejection is a filter. It removes the easy path, leaving you only with the path that truly matters. When you are accepted everywhere, it's easy to lose focus. You start chasing too many things at once. But when you are rejected, you are forced to ask yourself, is this really worth it? Is this really the vision I want to fight for? If the answer is yes, rejection becomes fuel. Think about it like refining gold. Gold in its raw form is mixed with other metals, dirt, and impurities. To get pure gold, you have to heat it in fire until all the unnecessary parts melt away. Rejection is that fire. It burns away the weak parts of your idea, the distractions, the things you don't need. What's left is your pure vision. Many young people tell me, Jack, I have a dream, but I keep getting rejected. And I tell them, Hugut, that means your dream is being tested. A vision that cannot survive rejection will never survive success. Because success brings its own challenges, competitors' pressure, expectation. If your vision is not strong enough to stand through rejection, it will break under success. When I was rejected from jobs, from universities, from partnerships, I started to notice a pattern. Every rejection pushed me to ask better questions. Why didn't they choose me? What are they looking for that I don't have yet? How can I improve my offer, my skills, my message? These questions forced me to sharpen my thinking. They made my vision more clear, more specific. In business, rejection can also save you from the wrong opportunities. Sometimes we think every opportunity is good, but not all opportunities are meant for you. Some will take you off your path. Some will distract you from your mission. Rejection is often a blessing in disguise, keeping you focused on the opportunities that truly align with your vision. When we first tried to expand Alibaba into certain markets, we were rejected by local partners. At the time, it felt like a big loss. But later, I realized that if we had entered those markets too early, we would have failed badly. The rejection forced us to wait, to improve our systems, and to build a stronger foundation. By the time we tried again, we were ready, and we succeeded. Rejection also teaches humility. When you are rejected, you have two choices. You can blame others, or you can look at yourself honestly. The first choice will make you bitter. The second choice will make you better. I chose the second, and it changed my life. I learned that rejection is not always about you being a bat. Sometimes it's just about timing. Sometimes the world is not ready for your idea. Sometimes the people you approach are not the right ones. But rejection forces you to keep searching until you find the right match. In my life, every no I received eventually led me to a better yes. When Harvard said no 10 times, I ended up teaching at a university in my hometown, an experience that shaped my ability to communicate and lead. When jobs rejected me, I was pushed toward entrepreneurship. When investors turned me down, I learned to build a company without depending on them. Rejection also forces you to simplify your vision. If people do not understand your idea, you must learn to explain it more clearly. If they do not believe in it, you must learn to show evidence. This process makes your vision not only stronger for you, but also more convincing for others. I like to think of rejection as a compass. It may spin wildly at first, but every rejection helps you adjust your direction. Slowly, the needle points more clearly toward where you are meant to go. For example, in the early days of Alibaba, our idea was too broad. We wanted to do too many things at once. Rejection from partners forced us to narrow our focus. Start with small and medium-sized businesses instead of trying to serve everyone at once. That focus became the key to our early success. Rejection also builds patience. We live in a world that loves instant results, but big visions take time. Rejection slows you down just enough to prepare you for the journey ahead. If you got everything you wanted immediately, you might not be ready for it. Rejection gives you the time to grow into the person who can handle your vision. One of the most valuable lessons rejection taught me is that vision is not about being right all the time. It's about adapting. Your vision may start one way, but through rejection and feedback it evolves. The core may remain, but the details will improve. This flexibility is what allows a vision to survive in the real world. So, if you are facing rejection now, don't see it as an ending. See it as a refining process. Every no is shaping you. Every door that closes is guiding you to a better one. Every person who doubts you is giving you a chance to prove your vision is worth believing in. Rejection is not there to break you. It is there to prepare you. Without it, your vision will be untested, unsharpened, and unready. With it, your vision will be focused, strong, and ready to win. Remember, the most dangerous thing is not rejection. It's acceptance without understanding. If everyone says yes to you without questioning your idea, you may never see its weaknesses. And those weaknesses will be the reason it fails later. But rejection exposes them early, giving you the chance to fix them before it's too late. In my own journey, the visions that survived rejection became my greatest successes. And the ones that everyone accepted easily, those were the ones that failed quietly. So I say to you, welcome rejection. Thank the people who doubt you. Use their no as a tool to make your yes even stronger. Because rejection does not mean your vision is wrong. It means your vision is being shaped into something even better. That is why I say, rejection refines vision. And a vision that has been refined by rejection is unstoppable. Pain creates perspective when you are in pain. The world feels very small. You only see your problem, your loss, your failure. You think, what, me? Why now? Why does life treat me this way? I know this feeling very well. I have lived through it many times. But over the years, I learned something important. Pain is not only a teacher. It is also a lens. It changes the way you see the world. It strips away what is unimportant and shows you what truly matters. When I failed my exams again and again, I thought the worst thing in life was to be left behind by my classmates. But after facing rejections, losing opportunities, and making mistakes in business, I realized falling behind in school was not the end of the world. It was just one chapter. That pain gave me perspective. It taught me to see beyond the moment. Pain makes you appreciate things you take for granted. When you are healthy, you don't think much about your health. When you have a job, you don't think about how valuable it is. But lose these things, even for a short time, and suddenly you understand their worth. That understanding becomes part of you. In business, pain has been my most honest mentor. When Alibaba faced its hardest times, I could see clearly who my true friends were, who truly believed in the mission, and who was only there for the good days. Pain filters your life. It removes the noise and leaves only the things and people that matter. Many people think success gives you wisdom. No, success gives you comfort. Pain gives you wisdom. Pain forces you to ask deeper questions. What am I doing this for? Is it worth the sacrifice? What is truly important in my life? Without pain, you may never stop to think about these things. I remember when our company almost ran out of money. Salaries were hard to pay. Every day felt like a storm. I could have spent my time blaming the economy, blaming the market, blaming bad luck. But pain taught me to focus not on blame, but on solutions. That perspective, to look forward instead of backward, became one of the reasons we survived. Pain also teaches empathy. When you have suffered, you can see the suffering of others more clearly. When you have been rejected, you understand what rejection feels like for someone else. This is why leaders who have known pain often lead with more compassion. They know what it means to struggle. Perspective from pain is also about time. When something bad happens, it feels huge in the moment. But look back after 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, and you may see it as a small turning point, maybe even a blessing in disguise. Many of my greatest opportunities came disguised as painful failures. When I was rejected from 30 jobs, it felt like humiliation. Now, I see it as the freedom to build my own path. When my early business ideas failed, it felt like the end. Now I see they were training for the challenges of Alibaba. Pain gave me the perspective to see that sometimes the worst day of your life can be the first day of your best chapter. Pain also makes victory sweeter. If you have never tasted hunger, you don't know the true value of food. If you have never been poor, you don't truly appreciate financial freedom. If you have never been at the bottom, you will not value the top. The struggle adds flavor to the success. We often tell young people, don't wish for a life without pain. Wish for the strength to grow from it. Because if your life is too comfortable, you will miss the lessons that only pain can teach. You will miss the chance to see the world with deeper understanding. Pain teaches patience. When you are in a difficult season, you can't fast forward to the good part. You have to endure, learn, and grow in the moment. That waiting builds patience. And patience is one of the most valuable qualities you can have in business and in life. Pain also humbles you. It reminds you that you are not invincible, that you can make mistakes, that you have limits. But in that humility, you also find strength. Because once you accept your limits, you start focusing on what you can control, and you stop wasting energy on what you cannot. In my own life, every painful experience has left me with a new perspective that made me a better leader, a better entrepreneur, and a better human being. I learned that sometimes the door you want to walk through is not the right one for you. Sometimes pain is closing that door so you can find the one you are meant to open. This perspective changes the way you handle challenges. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what is this trying to teach me? That small shift changes everything. Pain also shows you your true priorities. When you are hurting, you suddenly know what is worth fighting for and what is not. And stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You put your energy where it counts. When Alibaba was growing, we faced a lot of competition. At times, the pressure felt overwhelming, but pain gave me perspective. Our mission was not to beat every competitor, but to serve our customers better than anyone else. Once we focused on that, the noise from competition became less distracting. One of the biggest gifts of pain is gratitude. After going through hard times, you appreciate the simple things. A quiet morning, a supportive friend, a good meal, a small success. You stop taking life for granted. I want you to remember something. Pain will visit everyone. It doesn't matter if you are rich or poor, young or old. You cannot avoid it, but you can decide how to use it. You can let it break you, or you can let it build you. The choice is yours. If you choose to learn from it, pain will give you a perspective that no success can match. It will teach you resilience, patience, humility, empathy, and gratitude. It will show you the real value of the things in your life. So the next time you are in pain, don't rush to escape it. Take a moment to see what it is trying to show you. Maybe it is pointing you to a better path. Maybe it is teaching you to slow down. Maybe it is simply preparing you for the victory ahead. Here's the truth. Pain is temporary, but the perspective it gives you lasts forever. That is why I say pain creates perspective. And with the right perspective, there's no challenge too big, no failure too heavy, and no dream too far. Setbacks build problem solvers. When I look back at my journey, I can see one clear truth. The person I am today was shaped not by my successes, but by the countless setbacks I faced along the way. You see, success is a poor teacher. It feels good, yes, but it doesn't demand that you grow. Failure, on the other hand, forces you to evolve. It's like a fire that burns away your weaknesses until only the strong parts remain. And one of the most valuable strengths it gives you is the ability to solve problems when everything is falling apart. Let me take you back to the early days of building my company. Back then, we didn't have the kind of money, technology, or global recognition we enjoy today. We were just a small group of people in a tiny apartment, trying to build something that no one believed would work. We were surrounded by giants, big companies with huge budgets, experienced leaders, and advanced systems. And here we were, with nothing but an idea and the determination to try. Every single day brought a new challenge. Some were small, like a website bug that annoyed customers. Others were massive, things that could have ended our company overnight. I remember one time, during a big promotional event, our entire payment system crashed. Imagine this, millions of people trying to buy things, and every single transaction failing. The team was in chaos. Phones were ringing non-stop with angry clients. Some of my people were shouting, some were staring at their screens frozen, unsure what to do. In that moment, I could have yelled. I could have blamed someone. But instead, I stood in the middle of the room and said, "Good, now let's fix it." They looked at me like I was crazy. But I meant it, because I knew moments like this are where you find out who you really are. Moments like this are where you discover solutions you never would have thought about if everything had gone smoothly. We worked through the night. Every engineer, every customer service representative, every manager, we were all part of one team with one goal: get the system back up. We tried different things. Some failed, some made things worse, but each time taught us something new about the problem. And slowly, piece by piece, we built a temporary fix. By morning, the system was running again. Not only had we survived the disaster, but we had also invented a faster, more reliable payment process that became a cornerstone of our platform for years to come. That's the thing about setbacks. They push you into situations where you have no choice but to think differently. In a comfortable situation, you do what you've always done. But when something breaks, you're forced to question everything. Why did this happen? How can we prevent it next time? What if we tried a completely different approach? This kind of thinking is where innovation comes from. People often say to me, "Hey Jack, you seem to know exactly what to do when trouble comes." I smile when I hear that because the truth is, I don't have a magic answer. I simply have experience, and that experience was earned through many failures. I've been in enough bad situations to know that there's always a way forward if you stay calm, stay focused, and keep working the problem. I also learned something else. Problems are like puzzles. Some puzzles are small and take only a few minutes to solve. It might take weeks, months, or even years. But every puzzle has a solution, and the person who refuses to give up will find it. I train myself and my team to approach every problem with curiosity instead of fear. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," we ask, "What would make it possible?" Let me give you another example. In our early days, we were often rejected by investors. We'd spend weeks preparing presentations, polishing our business plan, rehearsing every line, only to hear the dreaded words, "And no thank you." Some rejections were polite, some were not. Some people told me my idea was stupid. Others told me it was impossible to beat the big companies. Each time it hurt. But after a while, I began to see those unknown moments as problems to solve, not personal attacks. I would ask myself, why did they say no? Was it because they didn't understand the idea? Was it because our plan wasn't clear? Was it because they didn't trust us? And then I would go back, make changes, and try again. Over time, I became better at anticipating objections before they came up. That skill didn't come from reading books or attending seminars. It came from getting rejected, learning the reason behind it, and fixing the weaknesses one by one. You see, setbacks don't just teach you to solve the problem in front of you. They prepare you to prevent future problems. And that's where the real value lies. If you've been through enough fires, start to see the smoke before the flames appear. You can take action early, and that makes you a stronger leader, a smarter entrepreneur, and a better human being. Here's something I tell young people all the time. Don't pray for an easy life. Pray for the strength to handle a difficult one. Because if you only want comfort, you will never develop the resilience and creativity needed to handle the inevitable storm. But if you are willing to face challenges, to get knocked down and get back up, you'll become a problem solver. And problem solvers run the world. I know this because I've lived it. Every failed idea, every technical disaster, every rejection letter, every lost deal, they all sharpened my mind and my spirit. They made me faster at spotting opportunities. They made me braver when making decisions. And they taught me something that I will never forget. The bigger the problem you can solve, the bigger your success will be. So the next time you face a setback, remember this: you are in training. Every challenge is preparing you for something great. Every problem is teaching you a lesson you will use one day when the stakes are even higher. And when that day comes, you will be ready. Not because you read about it, but because you lived it. That is why I say without hesitation, setbacks are the best thing that can happen to you. They force you to think, to act, to adapt. And in doing so, they transform you into a person who can solve problems that others run away from. When you can do that, you have something more valuable than money, more valuable than connections, more valuable even than luck. You have the ability to create solutions out of nothing. And that, my friends, is the true power that failure gives you. Rejection creates emotional strength when people ask me, Jack, how do you stay so calm when things go wrong? I smile because they think this calmness was something I was born with. No, this calmness, this emotional strength was built through years and years of rejection. Rejection is something I know very well. In fact, I sometimes joke that I am an expert in being told a no. When I was young, I applied for a job at KFC. 24 people applied. 23 of them got hired. I was the only one they rejected. I still remember standing outside that store thinking, what's wrong with me? Later, I applied to be a police officer. 5 people applied. 4 were accepted. I was the only one rejected, and the reason they gave for the job. When I applied to university, I failed the entrance exam, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Every time I failed, I thought about giving up. Every time I failed, I felt smaller. It hurt. Rejection always hurts no matter how strong you think you are. But here is the paradox. The more I was rejected, the stronger I became emotionally. Each no trained me not to collapse, but to stand back up. Each no taught me not to take things personally. At first, rejection felt like an attack on my worth. But over time, I realized rejection is not always about you. Sometimes it's about the situation. Sometimes it's about timing. Sometimes it's about someone else's vision not matching yours. When you experience rejection once, it's easy to feel destroyed. When you experience rejection 10 times, you begin to adapt. And when you experience rejection hundreds of times, something changes inside you. You develop a shield, not a cold, hard wall, but a flexible strength. You learn to bend without breaking. In business, emotional strength is one of the most valuable assets you can have. What? Because people will doubt you. Markets will change. Investors will pull out. Partners will walk away. If you cannot handle the emotional storm, you'll quit before you see success. When Alibaba was just starting, I faced countless rejections. I tried to raise money from Silicon Valley investors. Some didn't even want to meet me. Others listened for 5 minutes and said, this will never work in China. Some told me directly, Jack, you don't understand the internet. Dude, you don't even know how to code. They were right. I didn't know how to code. But I understood people. I understood the vision. If I had not been rejected so many times earlier in life, these business rejections would have crushed me. I want you to understand something. Emotional strength is not built in comfort. You don't grow strong when everything is going your way. You grow strong when you are tested, when you are pushed to your limits, when you are told you are not good enough, and yet you keep going. Sometimes people ask me, Jack, how do you keep smiling when things are so difficult? And I tell them, I've been here before. I know this feeling. I survived it many times, and I know that if I keep moving, something better will come. This is why I say rejection creates emotional strength. Without those early rejections, I would not have had the mental endurance to face the bigger challenges later. Without learning to control my emotions, I might have quit at the first sign of real trouble. Rejection is a gift disguised as pain. Okay, it doesn't feel like a gift at the moment. It feels like loss, like humiliation, like failure. But over time, you will see it for what it truly is. Training for the bigger battles ahead. Training for the storms you will need to sail through on your way to your dream. So when you are rejected, don't let it break you. Let it build you. Every no is one step closer to a yes. Every rejection is an opportunity to grow thicker skin and a deeper belief in yourself. And one day when the world finally says yes to you, you will be ready. Not just to take the opportunity, but to protect it, nurture it, and turn into something extraordinary. Failure prepares you for the victory you can handle. People love to talk about winning. They love to talk about success. You see it on TV, in magazines, on the internet. The shining faces, the big trophies, the celebration party. But very few people talk about whether you are ready for that victory. Because here's the truth. Winning before you are ready is sometimes more dangerous than losing. Let me explain. When I was young and trying to start my business, I often dreamed about making it big quickly. I imagined one investor writing a big check. I imagined millions of users arriving in the first month. I imagined sitting in an office with everything running perfectly. But in reality, it didn't happen that way. And thank goodness it didn't. Because if I had received everything I wanted too early, I would have lost it all even faster. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the experience. I didn't have the understanding of how to manage a big operation, how to lead a large team, or how to survive competition on a global scale. Think about it like climbing a mountain. If a helicopter drops you straight at the top without training your body along the way, you can't breathe, you collapse. You can't enjoy the view because your body isn't prepared for that altitude. Business, life, they work the same way. If success comes before you are ready, it will crush you instead of lift you. That's why I say failure is not your enemy. It's your personal trainer. It's like going to the gym every day. The weight feels heavy, your muscles ache, you want to quit. But in that pain, your body gets stronger. Failure works the same way. Every time you fail, it's a training session for the victory that's coming. When our early business ideas failed, we learned how to fix things with very little money. When a partner left, we learned how to keep the company moving without them. When a product didn't sell, we learned to ask customers what they really needed. These lessons didn't make us rich overnight, but they made us ready. And readiness is everything. Because when the big opportunities finally come, you must be strong enough, wise enough, and humble enough to handle them. I've seen many people win too fast and lose everything. They didn't know how to protect what they built. They didn't understand the responsibility that comes with success. They didn't respect the fact that victory is not a trophy. It's a long-term commitment. So every time you fail, instead of asking, why me? Start asking, what is this teaching me? Because life is preparing you for a wind that you can carry without falling. When I finally reached moments of big success, the IPO, the global expansion, I realized something. The real reason we survived was not because we were the smartest or the fastest. It was because failure had trained us for years to think differently, to adapt quickly, and to never become arrogant. We were ready. We could breathe at the top of the mountain. So remember this. Failure is not the opposite of victory. Failure is the school where you learn how to live with victory, how to protect it, and how to make it grow. Without failure, you may still reach the top, but you won't last there. The real victory people often think victory means standing on the stage, holding a medal, or making headlines. But to me, victory is much quieter. It's when you wake up after a hard day and you are still willing to try again. It's when you lose something precious, but you refuse to lose your spirit. It's when everyone doubts you, and you still choose to believe in yourself. Over the years, I've learned that real victory is not about avoiding failure. It's about building a relationship with it, letting it teach you, shape you, and prepare you for the future. Every mistake, every rejection, every door that closes is not a dead end. It's a training ground for the bigger challenges you don't even know are coming yet. When people look at my life now, they see the awards, the best speeches. But behind each of those moments are hundreds of failures that made them possible. Without those failures, I would not have the wisdom to make the right decisions. Without those failures, I would not have the humility to keep learning. Without those failures, I would not have the strength to carry the victories without being crushed by them. So if you are failing today, I want you to remember this. You are not losing. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. And when your moment of victory finally comes, you will recognize it, you will be ready for it, and you will know how to protect it. That, to me, is the real paradox of life. Failure is not the opposite of victory. It is the foundation of it. And if you can accept that, you will realize you are already on the path to winning.